So, just sitting here watching hummingbirds. They're all females. Females are tinier and gray. They have no bright colors. Cut my hair today, but the stylist hasn't come by and applied any product and poofed it. Did some shaving. Libra is concerned with beauty. And it's number 6 month for me personally. Means all the numbers. My birthday plus the year, 2022. That's how you determine your personal year. So say, for example, I'm born on the 9th of August. And that's 8 plus 9 is 17. Plus 6 is, wait a second, that doesn't compute. That would be 23. Right, I'm sorry. I'm not in the number 6 year. Yeah. 8 plus 9 is 17, plus 6 is 23. I'm in the number 5 year. Excuse my forgetful self. And then you add the personal year number to the month number. 10 reduces to 1. 5 plus 1 is 6. I'm in a personal number 6 month. Then you add the day of the month. Today is, of course, the 3rd. So 6 plus 3 is 9. I am having a number 9 personal day. My glasses are crooked. My grasses are rooked. My grasses are looked good grasses. So I was thinking about a quote from one of my characters from one of my books. I forget which one, but I think it's Brad in one of his well, he's only in one of my books. I don't know. At any rate, he says, "I've survived myself so far." And that's kind of how I feel, as I get older. I mean, sure, there's been some attacks on me, personal attacks, physical attacks. I've been slandered. I've been libeled. Difference between slander and libel is libel occurs in a public forum. Originally, the definition was print, but now it could be the internet. You could do libel on the internet. And recently I've been slandered by the mother of a friend of mine. I don't think we're really going to be friends anymore, but her mother's accused me of stealing her credit cards to make purchases on Amazon. And I'm not making this up. So since, of course, that's a false accusation, then what that means is it's called de facto slander, because the person who's making the accusation knows it's false, or at the very least there's no evidence whatsoever that they can point to back up that claim, support that claim, and they're accusing another person of criminal behavior. Of course, using someone else's credit card to make purchases is theft, and I think it's a felony because it's identity theft, so it doesn't have to be over $1,000 or whatever. I've survived myself so far. I've survived other people so far. I haven't been macheted, knifed, shot. About the worst thing that ever happened to me in terms of a fight. I was very young, and it's chronicled in my book. And a woman I was shacked up with down in Kingston, who was a prostitute, wonderful woman when she was sober, and for her, sobriety was not gambling. As it turned out, she was a gambling addict, but we didn't use those words like gambling addict back then. It was called something else, and there was a name for it within the casinos or places where legalized gambling took place, but just a problem gambler is what you would call it. There was no GA, Gamblers Anonymous. Oh yeah, they were called degenerate gamblers. So she was a degenerate gambler. And I found this out when I was staying with her, rent-free, I might add. And I paid a little bit of money for room and board when I first hooked up with her, like $50 for a week. And that included food and her wonderful cooking. She didn't even make my coffee in the morning. Weird how the Jamaicans drank coffee. It was, like kind of like some cheap instant, and then they would add evaporated milk. Somehow she managed to make this taste good because, as it turned out, the Jamaican instant, which is made with their own coffee, which is the famous Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee bean, it was pretty fucking good. You ain't gonna get no instant like that here in America. Anyhow, she flipped out, and she attacked me with a couple of broken Red Stripe beer bottles. As chronicled in the section of the book Being Our Own Gods, cleverly titled Jamaica. All the sections of the book, 4 sections of the book, they have geographical titles. And so, I've lived an interesting life, interesting enough that I thought it was worthy of being put down in words. And I don't think it's just because I'm self-centered, or I was going to film a hummingbird, or narcissistic. I mean, to a certain extent, a writer has to be, an artist has to be inward in their perspective, self-centered and narcissistic. And as an artist, I can tell you that expressing yourself through art gives you a more realistic view of the world that's a little less self-centered and narcissistic, because you are expressing that tendency within your own personality creatively. The opposite of creation is destruction. Well, one of the themes I explore in one of my books is the marriage between the artist and the criminal. That artists are really just all, criminals. You take away the art, and they could be the guys like planning and pulling off jobs. And that's why I'm sort of a fan of the crime movie, and I write crime novels, because in my mind the artist and the criminal are similar, and as chronicled in my first book with the character Brad Jameson, who's an actor, failed actor, and he is lured into criminal behavior, criminal escapades, and he just adapts to it very easily. And so the discussion in narration in that book is how the genius for the artist, it comes from the shadow side. It comes from Mercury. It comes from Mercury, the madman, the trickster. And so that's why I'm attracted to that. And Mercury, the madman, the trickster, in Western mindset and myth and what have you, is similar to the Greek Eros. And of course, ancient Greeks and Romans, they believed that the origins and the pure creativity, it comes, and sexuality obviously, it comes from Eros, which is the nothingness, the darkness, the origins of everything, like before there was the Big Bang. And this is also supported in the Bhagavad Gita, where everything returns to that in between the ages. And of course, listening to a modern Hindu teacher in being our own gods in the book Coast to Coast in Canada. The Guru Maharaji speaks of this, of the age of Kali Yuga, which goes through several levels and takes place for a really long time. And it's the destruction, the end times of an age. And we're in that now. He says this in his lecture in the story, The Kundalini Way of the Three Sisters. And he chronicles how when the last guru, great ascended master yogi, chooses to give up the earthly form, and there's no one here alive who wants him to stay, and I'm sorry I can't get into gender right now for you, or why these are men, but you'll have to work that out yourself. And there's no one who wants to receive knowledge of God, as he describes it, then the age, sooner or later, it depends, it comes to an end. So in his lecture, just merely the fact that he's there and we're there and he's teaching us and we want to know and we want to learn, and this was in Canada in 1972, in a way we're like, keeping the end times at bay because we want to know, we want to receive knowledge of God. And I don't know how I got off on that tangent, but I've survived myself so far.